We're getting ready to work on number 3C on the Chapter 5 practice test. So we finished multiplication and division. Next we have addition and subtraction. So we have 3 problems here. Notice on the first one, we have common denominators. They did our work for us. Yay! So we learned when we were doing these in our lesson that you rewrite it as one fraction, but the key, and this is what most students miss, I'd say 50% of the students miss this, and this is one of the easiest ones on the test, and it's because they forget this. If you're subtracting a quantity, that quantity needs to be in parentheses, because remember how we learned about subtraction in chapter 4, that it's always the negative has to be distributed. So we need parentheses to distribute. Otherwise, you're just going to go minus 2x and minus 1 when it really should be negative 2x and positive 1. So there is our new numerator. Our new denominator is going to be 7x minus 4. So now we have to distribute that negative 1 and then combine like terms. So that leaves us with 3x minus 2x and plus 1, because the negative times the negative is positive. So if I was you, I would highlight those parentheses to remind yourself that anytime you subtract a quantity, that's a quantity, 2 or more terms, you have to have parentheses so that that negative gets distributed. Otherwise, you're only subtracting the first number, and that's not what that means. That means subtract everything that's up there. And then we still have 7x minus 4, and that leaves us with 3x minus 2x is 1x, which is just x, plus 1 over 7x minus 4. There it is. So nice, easy problem. As long as you remember those parentheses, that is key. Okay, next problem is another addition and subtraction problem, but no common denominator. So let's go ahead and bring this over here since I kind of ran into that problem. So we learned when they don't have a common denominator, we have to find one. So what will the common denominator be? So think back to your 5.3 notes. You write everything you see, but only with the highest exponent. So I see a 5, I write it. I see an x squared here and x to the first here. I only write it with the highest exponent. So that means the common denominator is going to be 5x squared. So write everything you see, but only with the highest exponent. So I see a 5. I don't see one here, but I still write it. I see an x squared here and x to the first here. X squared's highest. So what you should notice is this first fraction already has the common denominator. So I just bring the numerator down. But the second fraction does not have a common denominator. It has a denominator of x. So I say to myself, what is it missing to make it look like this? What is it missing? So it's missing a 5 and an x because it needs 2 x's. I only have 1, and it's missing the 5. But we learned whatever you do to the denominator, you always do to the numerator as well. So that is going to give me a new numerator of 50x. And this is another one that's very highly missed. I put it on the test to be a nice, easy one, and a lot of students miss it. So what's my final answer? I put all this over the common denominator. So I'm going to put it in the correct order. So 50x plus 3 all over the common denominator 5x squared. And the numerator can't be factored. There's nothing common there, no GCF. And it can't be squares or cubes. It doesn't have exponents. So that would just be my answer. I can't cancel because there's an addition sign right there. So that is my answer. Okay, so I think I'm going to move E and G to the other page. We have enough room to do F, but let's do E on another page. So number 3E. I'm going to write it first, I guess, right? Number 3E. So we have 2y plus 9 over y squared minus 7y plus 12 minus 2 over y minus 3. Okay, I don't remember how many of you remember this from 5.3, but the first thing I told you to do before you do anything else is add the opposite so you don't lose that negative when you're distributing on a later step. So the minute you see subtraction, add the opposite so it's right up there and you won't lose that negative. Okay, so now we have a double bubble here. So this is going to be 2y plus 9. Factors of 12 that add to 7 are 3 and 4. This says the signs will be the same. And this tells us they'll both be negative. So I go over here and I make them both negative. And then I check my work so I can catch errors. Is negative 3 plus negative 4 negative 7? Yes, it is. So that's going to be y minus 3, y minus 4. And again, it was double bubble because the leading coefficient's 1. So you do not need to do AC method for that. So now it's the time when you decide what is the common denominator. So write everything you see without repeating and only with its highest exponent. So I see a y minus 3 to the first, a y minus 3 to the first. The highest exponent I see is y minus 3 to the first. So I never add them. I write the highest exponent I see. I see a y minus 4 to the first and no y minus 4 here. So y minus 4 to the first is the highest exponent I see for that factor. And so there's my common denominator. Write everything you see without repeating. So I didn't repeat the y minus 3. So what I notice is, oh, how convenient. This one already has a common denominator, so I just bring that numerator down as is. But not true on this one. It does not have the common denominator, so I need to say to myself, what is this one missing to make it look like this? It's missing y minus 4. Okay, so now let's figure out our new numerator and see how we have that negative right there. If it was down there, do you think you'd remember to distribute negative 2 to those? No, you wouldn't. You might remember to do it to the first one, but you wouldn't remember the second. With it up there, you're not going to lose that negative. So negative 2y and then positive 8, because a negative times a negative is positive. So negative 2y, positive 8. So my last step is to go, oh, well, we have a common denominator, so now we can add like terms. Well, 2y minus 2y is gone. And we wouldn't be able to do this if these didn't match, but they match, so we can. So 9 plus 8 is 17 over y minus 3, y minus 4. So add and subtract the numerator and put it over the common denominator. So again, nice and easy. Not bad at all, huh? And 17 doesn't factor, so I don't have to worry about simplifying. So that one was pretty sweet, huh? Okay, so let's go back to F, because I think we have room to do F here, and then we'll do G on the other page. Okay, so on these, as I told you in the video notes, you really want to rewrite it because you're going to do a lot of canceling. Let's just say attached page, just so we know that one we didn't skip. Okay, so for F, I'm going to write it big because there's going to be tons of canceling because we learned in our video notes, step number 1 is get rid of all the fractions. So 1 minus 2 over x minus 8 over x squared. So we learned you look at all the denominators. So this denominator's 1, this denominator's 1, x squared, x squared. And we take the highest power we see. So the highest power of x we see is x squared. We don't add them together. We just take the highest power we see. So that's going to be my LCD. So now we multiply every term, even if it's not a fraction. Every term gets multiplied by x squared. And what you'll see happen is all the fractions disappear. It's so awesome. So when it's a fraction, make sure and put it in the numerator so that you know you're going to be canceling. If it's a whole number like 1, just put it right beside. So put x squared here, x squared here. And then I use the quotient rule where I subtract exponents, and that will get rid of the fractions. So the main fraction bar will be there, but nothing else. So x squared times 1 is x squared. X squared divided by x squared is 1, so I'm just left with minus 4. Whoa, look at that beautiful numerator. Nice. And denominator, x squared minus, so 2 minus 1 is 2x to the first. X squareds cancel, minus 8. Beautiful. Look at that. All whole numbers now. No fractions except for the main fraction bar. So now we really have a problem just like number 2. Let's simplify. Simplify says factor the numerator, factor the denominator, cancel common factors. So once you get rid of the fractions, then it's just a simplify problem. So we have to figure out our factoring patterns. As I said, difference of squares is everywhere. This is the 5th time we've done it on this one page of the test. So x plus 2, x minus 2. Because this says the signs are different and we do add the square roots, then we subtract the square roots. And then this one is double bubble. So we're looking for factors of 8 that subtract a 2, which would be 4 and 2. This says the signs are different. And this says make the larger negative. So 4 is negative. So let's see what that looks like. So is negative 4 plus 2 negative 2? Yep. So we have x minus 4, x plus 2. Ding! So our answer is x minus 2 over x minus 4. And remember, no canceling there because this is addition and subtraction now. We'll pick up from there in the next video.